Crunchyroll Premium lets you watch the newest anime right after it airs in Japan in beautiful high definition and on all your devices. Right now on Crunchyroll, Attack on Titan, Digimon Adventure 2020, also available, plus the brand new Jujutsu Kaisen anime, and hundreds of old favorites like Dragon Ball Super, Naruto, One Piece, Bleach, and so much more. Try it out for free right now at crunchyroll.com/geekdom. The link will be down below, and I thank them for sponsoring this video. Now that the Super Saiyan God transformation guide has finally been uploaded, I thought we'd take a look back and have a discussion about which transformation fits the Saiyan warrior race more. Is it Super Saiyan God from Dragon Ball Super and Battle of Gods, or is it Super Saiyan 4 from Dragon Ball GT? This is not about which form is more powerful or which one you like more. That's not really what it's about. It's more so, like I said, which actually seems to be more fitting for the Saiyans. We're going to talk about that here today. And joining me, please welcome back to the channel. You might not know who he is, but your girlfriend does. Please welcome back MJX TV.
Thank you for having me back, brother. And I like that. I like that introduction.
Now, is it MJX TV or is it MJ TV? Because like Hunter x Hunter, is the X silent, bro?
Just call me MJ, bro.
All right, there we go. Or what about the people who call it Dragon Ball Fighter Z, bro?
Dragon Ball Fighter Z.
Hunter x Hunter.
You can also call me Link Murdoch, bro. Whichever you prefer.
I don't think so, bro. I think we'll stick with MJ here. So, all right. Which form fits Saiyans better? So, I mean, we'll get right into it. I personally feel like even though Super Saiyan God represents Goku's evolution as a martial artist and later Vegeta's, I feel like the idea of the Super Saiyan God legend is a cool concept. I feel like, you know, the calm, serene nature, even though God is more explosive than Blue, it does, you know, sort of represent kind of the higher tier martial arts and a whole new level of power that Goku had no idea about before Battle of Gods, the movie, came out. I still feel like Super Saiyan 4 fits Saiyans more. It looks more barbaric. You've got the fur, the tail. You attain the form by looking at the full earth, like the full moon with Brutes waves, which is what Saiyans were originally like. That's what they were by their core. Like, even though we could have debates about power for hours and hours and hours. Well, maybe not that long. I feel like just for this topic, I think Super Saiyan 4, in my opinion, is just much more fitting. And also the fact that in Dragon Ball GT, and I've talked about this in videos before, Dragon Ball GT, when we first see Super Saiyan 4, you know, Goku had done Golden Great Ape, which is really a Saiyan transformation. I mean, that's as close as it gets to the core, you know, belief system of that race, the barbaric berserk nature. You know, Super Saiyan 4 was him controlling his power and being able to tap into an even higher power. And with all that being said, it just feels like that, on top of the fact that Goku's battle with Baby was the rekindling, so to speak, of the Saphurian Saiyan battle, which is what started this whole thing. You know, what happened many, many years ago that, you know, was talked about in filler and later on in GT. I just think that Super Saiyan 4 fits Saiyans more. Do you have a counter argument, or what do you think to add to that?
I know people would probably want us to disagree and kind of see a debate happen, but I do kind of agree with you. Even design-wise, like you said earlier, the form looks more barbaric. It looks more like an extension of Super Saiyan 3. People for years have talked about the design sheets with like Super Saiyan 3 and the tail, stuff like that, and you know. And also, even Super Saiyan 3 with the no eyebrows kind of had more of a barbaric look. It looked grimier. It looked like a harder form than like
almost more evil in a way, right? Like a little bit more evil.
So Super Saiyan 4 kind of follows that. I will say this, though, to kind of give some credence to Super Saiyan God. Some people kind of see that form as like a out of nowhere form. I've seen that brought up before, and I don't necessarily agree with that. I feel like in the Dragon Ball hierarchy, we've seen plenty of different gods. We've seen plenty of different levels of power and the mysteries behind like what these people are, like the Grand Kai and the Kaioshin. So the idea of the Saiyans actually having a godlike form is not something I kind of see out of being nowhere. Maybe the execution of it happening in Battle of Gods and in Super, maybe, but the idea of the Saiyans having a god form isn't too out of there. But you're right, though. Super Saiyan 4 just kind of followed that. I kind of do like the legendary battle between the Saphurians and the Saiyans more so than the god legend, that makes sense.
Right, no, for sure. And the legend was a big superstition. We went over this recently in videos I've done called The Mystery of Yamoshi and, of course, the Super Saiyan God Transformation Guide, where I talked about that. And I talked about sort of how Super Saiyan God was originally, before Toriyama got involved in the film, supposed to look like Super Saiyan 4, except with a cape and gold hair. And they went with a totally different look. You know, Toriyama, the way he draws Goku's eyes in God, it seems to be a lot more like calm and kind of happy and more positive. Super Saiyan 4 is like somebody who you don't want to screw around with. That's the way I always viewed it. And I wanted to kind of ask you, do you think that Super Saiyan 4 having black hair, you know, we've got the gold hair power in 1, 2, and 3. And of course, all the in-between forms, like, you know, grade 2, grade 3, all that stuff, grade 4. And then we have, like, you know, again, the blonde sort of hair. And then, of course, Dragon Ball Super introduced all the other hair colors: red, pink, blue, later on silver, of course, with UI. Do you think the black hair is kind of like a throwback to, okay, like, the Saiyans were supposed to all have black hair or dark hair? And I feel like Super Saiyan 4 just feels like something that is the natural evolution of a Saiyan's true power. Like, I've always theorized that Golden Great Ape in Super Saiyan 4 is the actual legendary Super Saiyan form. Obviously, people are going to say, no, it's not canon, and the same BS everybody says has been saying for 20 years. It doesn't even matter. Not the point. The point is that when they were writing GT, I could see that being the idea. That they wanted to go back to its roots, go back to basics, and the fact that Goku was able to look at the sun, with the Earth, that is, not the sun, the Earth, and get those Brutes waves to become Golden Great Ape and eventually Super Saiyan 4, it just seems more primal. It seems like it's something that perhaps any Saiyan could have been able to achieve with enough Brutes waves.
Yeah, you've talked about that before in videos, and I do agree with you. That theory that could be like the actual Saiyan legend, and that's what people have, you know, always feared in a sense, you know, the stuff that Vegeta's always talked about, like back in the DBZ filler and whatnot. I think that's kind of a cool idea. Maybe that's what they were going with, but to the whole black hair thing, I think it's like really cool that the Saiyans just have like that dark black hair, and, you know, Super Saiyan 4 took that, and it has kind of the same style of hair that Goku has, just a little bit longer. And funny enough that you brought that up, I think that's kind of why a lot of people gravitate towards UI Omen, to jump into Super for a second. That's why people gravitate towards that form more so than the silver hair version, because, like, we get like the blonde hair forms, blue, pink, and, you know, silver. It's like, it's kind of cool just to kind of go back to the whole black gimmick. I think the whole black hair is dope. You know what I mean? So I think that's probably why people gravitate towards Omen, and why they also like Super Saiyan 4 so much, because of the black hair, the long black hair. It just gives off more of that you don't want to mess with me type of vibe, like as you said earlier.
You know, we've heard people always say this, and I don't know if I agree with it, but they always say that Super Saiyan 4 is the best thing about GT, or they'll say something like, GT sucks except for Super Saiyan 4, which to me, you know, I've said this several times, I'm actually going to go out and say most people who say that either never watched GT or only saw it dubbed. Because, and we've talked about this in the past, the Dragon Ball GT dub butchers that script completely. It just makes it a totally different show. Goku's lines are not even remotely close to what he says in Japanese. It's like they wrote their own show almost. And it's very infuriating. And I feel like if people went back and watched GT in Japanese start to finish, they would get a new appreciation for it. No, it's not perfect. It's got tons of problems. Some of it's kind of boring, and it does take too long to get to the point. But I think Super Saiyan 4 being a favorite thing about GT, I can't really disagree with that aspect of it, because it is, you know, again, it wasn't even Toriyama's design. Kazuyoshi Nakasuru designed it, and he's awesome. I've put that guy over so many times. I mean, he's done so many great pieces of art for Dragon Ball throughout Z, and also an animator, just a tremendous talent. A guy who I wish at some point would return to Dragon Ball. He hasn't done Dragon Ball for decades, but I wish he would come back, because he is a special talent. And
him and Yamamuro, bro, they made the Buu arc look phenomenal. I think the Buu arc is probably the most consistent looking story arc in Z in terms of like animation and stuff. I think it's the Saiyan arc too, but, you know, the Buu arc is definitely up there.
Yeah, it seems that way. It definitely seems that way, especially for the action parts of it. So, all right. Well, with that being said, let us know in the comments. What do you think? Do you think that Super Saiyan 4 is more fitting for the Saiyans, or do you think Super Saiyan God is more fitting for the Saiyans? Keep in mind, of course, the legends, and please try to remove your own personal bias away from it. If you prefer one form to the other, that's fine. We all have our favorites, but We're talking about just which do you think fits the race better. And thank you, MJ, for being here.
No problem, man.
We'll talk to you soon.